Hi, Vision Durel. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be here. Um, I'm here with Grave Goods, a short film of mine. It's about my grandmother, and it's about my grandmother, her things. And why did I make this film? Well, in a way, it was a way to grieve or to overcome my grief. Um, there were many aesthetic challenges, also logistic challenges. I'm part of a film school program right now. I'm doing an MFA in documentary film at Stanford University, and we have, in the first year, we have 10 weeks to make a film. So last year we made 3 films, one film per quarter. We're on a quarter system, not a semester like probably in Europe. So when I entered the program in the fall of 2011, one of my main considerations for choosing that program was so that I could be closer to home. I'm originally from San Francisco, California, and Stanford University is very close by where my mother lives. And my grandmother was very ill, so I thought that whatever the case, I was going to choose the school that was closest to her so that I could spend her last days with her because I have a very deep and strong relationship with my grandmother. She basically raised me. My mother was a single mother. She was a Chinese immigrant from Taiwan. She moved to the U.S. In the late 1970s. And so I was born in the U.S. And soon after I was born, my grandmother moved to the U.S. as well, emigrated to the U.S. mostly to take care of me. So we shared a really strong bond. We both love clothing and fashion, but what we love most is going to thrift stores and buying secondhand things. And so a lot of my time spent with her is just sorting through all of her things. And I know that as she was getting older, her things were getting more and more out of control. And this became quite an obsession of mine. And I had been filming my grandmother on and off for various projects. But when she had a dream on her 80th birthday that she was going to, on her 85th birthday, that she was going to meet my grandfather, who has already passed again, I started to sense this urgency, and so I was filming her. So this film is made also, the material that I used is some of it is out of hundreds of hours of footage that I've shot of her over the past 6 years. And mostly I made this film to grieve, and it was very cathartic in that sense because I was kind of overwhelmed with the aftermath of her passing, and what happens in the aftermath is you get left with all these physical objects that remind you of the person who's gone, and you're searching in these things for a life. And so everything about these things, especially the way that they were wrapped and the way that they were contained, she used little tissues to wrap everything. And so everything for me opening it was a surprise. And every time I opened up a package, it was like letting loose a bit of her. So I was very compelled by this feeling, or trying to translate this feeling into images, this feeling of her being embodied in these objects and the materiality of things, because she's now no longer in the earthly material world. So I was very focused on trying to find what are the remnants of her in her things. So the logistical challenges were that I had 10 weeks to make the film. They check out the equipment to us, and we only have about 7 days for actual shooting. So we have one production week, and as you can imagine, it's very difficult to kind of, in 10 weeks' time, I mean, you have 2 weeks of pre-production to actually find a character and have your schedules line up so that you can actually be filming them at a critical moment in their lives during that 1 week of production. So because of all that, I thought, hey, this is perfect. I'm not dealing with people or scheduling. I'm just going to deal with things. And before, I had been filming things and a lot of handheld camera, and so I really wanted to take the opportunity. We have a TV studio with lights and everything, and I wanted to take the opportunity to set up and light and make her kind of used old products look like they're marvelous, precious, magnificent things, maybe even like with a little commercial bent, like I'm trying to sell you these things or entice you visually. So that was kind of the origins of it, and for a while in my mind I had ideas of products spinning, and I always wanted to do something with a seamless background, with a very particular aquamarine color, and I feel like that was somehow inspired by like 70s kind of aesthetic. So the color palette, the aquamarine blue and the orange red and then the pink, and all these things really came together. So yeah, that's how I made the film. And why am I a filmmaker? I can't really explain it, only that I really love it, and it's really the only thing that I want to do. And it was when I was 20 years old that I just decided documentary film was the thing that makes me want to wake up in the morning and makes me really feel like I'm experiencing life in the way that I want to be, and entering into different worlds and traveling through space and time continuums and into people's psychologies and stuff like that. So I guess that's why I want to be a filmmaker. And thanks again, Vivian Durrell, for inviting me. It's been a real big pleasure. I've really enjoyed myself. I've only been here for 2 days, but I've seen some pretty amazing films. So thank you, and hope to see you again.